say that was good. Okay, now we have to film me refilling it, right? So like a good angle for that. I'm gonna bring it over here, I think.
I'm gonna tell you that I love you 100 times a day. You'll get tired of my voice, that's how much I'm gonna tell you that I miss you.
Because I have the camera set up on the tripod right now with the appropriate lens that I want to use, which is a 24-70, I'm going to make my coffee first, and then I'm going to switch the lenses to a 14-24 and then put the camera in the cabinet and then pretend I'm grabbing the brown sugar and refilling it. So I'm kind of filming backwards, but it was edited correctly.
I tell you, Papa, too, I'm gonna let everyone know about my love. So I really hope you love me too. Yeah, I really hope you love me too. I'm gonna tell you that I need you every day. You'll get weary of my touch, that's how much I'm gonna tell you that I want you. I wanna let you.
This shot, I'm using the 14-28 millimeter just because I want a wider shot opening the door. It just shows a lot more of the space, especially because this is a smaller area. And I'm gonna put you in the dryer, in the washer. Just for some creative shots. The 14 millimeter, oh look at that. Boom, bam, thank you ma'am. Okay, I'm just gonna toss some stuff in here and make a really good video. What's up everyone? My name is Desiree LeCap, aka LeCapture. I'm a filmmaker who also posts film tips and tricks all across social media. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Lumix for sponsoring this video. Everything was shot with the Lumix S5 Mark IIX, and I personally cannot express how much I dig the overall quality and build of this camera. In today's video, I'm gonna walk y'all through the basics when it comes to producing videos, the type of gear, basic things to look for when maybe choosing a lens or setting up motivated and thinking about natural lighting, you know, all the good stuff. So we're gonna get straight into it. I'm gonna share some invaluable tips for your camera settings to help you capture the perfect shot. Starting with understanding the exposure triangle. The exposure triangle consists of 3 key elements within your camera settings: your aperture, your shutter speed, and ISO. The aperture controls the amount of light that enters the camera through the lens, meaning a wider aperture, which is represented by a lower f-stop like f2.8 or so, that lets in more light and creates a shallow depth of field, which creates, you know, essentially that blurry background. This is perfect for portraits or even artistic shots. On the other hand, a smaller aperture, which is a higher f-stop number like f22, actually allows less light to enter the lens, resulting in a deeper depth of field, which is more ideal for like landscapes and architectures or group photos or clips, or just wanting the entire clip to be focused. Now, shutter speed. This determines how long the camera's shutter remains open during exposure. A fast shutter speed freezes motion, so when you pause a video, there will be less motion blur. Then a slower shutter speed adds motion blur and is perfect for creating a sense of movement in your photos or videos. Lastly, but not, within the exposure triangle, we have ISO, which measures the sensitivity of the camera's sensor to light. A lower ISO is ideal for shooting in brighter conditions to avoid noise on your clip, while a higher ISO is necessary in low light situations to maintain proper exposure. Now, for videos, the general rule of thumb for shutter speed is to set it to double your frame rate, often referred to as a 180-degree shutter rule. For example, if you're filming at 24 frames per second, you should set your shutter speed to 1/48 or 1/50, depending on where you're located. Same goes for when you change your frame rate to 30, which should be 1/60, or if you're shooting slow-mo at 120, it should be 1/240. But there may be creative choices where you want to go against this rule. So for example, if you're shooting fast moving actions like sports, you might want to increase the shutter speed to reduce motion blur and capture clearer frames. And then of course, on the other hand, if you're shooting in low light conditions and need to let more light in, you might decrease shutter speed, accepting a bit more motion blur to achieve that proper exposure. In summary, understanding the relationship between shutter speed and frame rate is essential for achieving the desired look and feel in your video footage. Adjusting these settings allow you to control motion blur, capture smooth motion, and create the visual style you want for your videos. Now with lighting, we're gonna talk minimal gear here and mainly just natural lighting. We need some light. I barely get sunlight in my apartment. The best way to learn about lighting is to study where natural light actually hits and seeing how it affects your object or your subject. So for example, right now I'm facing the window straight on, so you could tell it's pretty flat on my face. There's not much contrast or shadows. So if I was to turn this way, you could see that the shadows have been created on my left side. Essentially, when you have light on one side of your face, okay, let me go right here actually. It creates this split lighting because it creates a shadow on the opposite side. And then if I'm going this way and my back is towards the lighting, it creates like this silhouette look. So backlighting essentially will create silhouette. If you kind of shift yourself this way, it'll create a little bit of that split lighting right here, because now this side is shadowed and this side has the main source of light. And then directly in front of it just causes a flat overall look. Study the patterns and intensity of natural light throughout the day wherever it is that you film, whether it's inside your house with the light coming through, outside in direct sunlight, right? Like consider the direction, quality, and color temperature of natural light at different times of the day. Now let's talk about the lenses and their focal length. Think about your shooting style and the type of content or film or video you'll be creating and the emotion you're trying to convey to your audience. Note that there are zoom lenses and then there are prime lenses. A primed lens has a fixed focal length, while zoom lenses are the other broad lens category, as they allow for variation without having to carry and change multiple lenses while the action's happening. Artistically, wide-angle lenses make subjects in the foreground look larger than they actually are, and any subjects further away look small. You'll mostly see wide-angle lenses used for dramatic landscape shots, establishing shots, or just, capturing the entire scene and location. So keep in mind that, say, fisheye or wide lens like a 14mm can be used for abstract and creative shots. Then you have 16 to 35mm considered wide angles used for landscape, architecture, or establishing shots. And then 35 to 85mm is standard, used for maybe street, travel, close-ups, or even portraits. And then 85 to 135 and more is like a short or telephoto, mainly for street photography or portraits. So with longer lenses, this helps with making it seem like the background is a lot closer to your subject than it is. And basically so on. So the most fun part about filming for me is like discovering new angles and opportunities to get creative with your shots, right? Like try things that are out of the ordinary. Put your camera in places you wouldn't think about putting it in and frame it up how you see the world or the shot. You never know, you really might start something. Overall, these are tips I wish I knew when I first started, with the very minimal gear and equipment. So when first purchasing maybe a lens, I'd suggest to go with a good standard zoom lens like 24 to 70, just for variety. As for lighting, the use of natural sunlight can teach you a lot with how the light hits your subject or your object a certain way, either creating maybe a flat look or a stylistic creative look, like shadows on your face, backlighting, silhouette, all that. So I hope you took something away from this video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And of course, I'd like to thank Lumix once again for sponsoring this video. As always, continue being great, go out and create, and have fun doing it. I'll see y'all at the next video. Peace.